I can assume it helps starting the band like you guys did. I mean, like you were on social welfare or something.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. Well, Joel and Ryan, the brothers, had the band already going before I joined, but when we all decided to go out of our hometown and move to Melbourne, yeah, we did it tough for quite a long time. You know, we were on the dole, which is, you know, our welfare in Australia. We lived off cans of baked beans and, you know, just trying to scrape, you know, just from day to day. We were playing shows, but not many at the time, and getting paid, not even getting paid for some shows, because you pretty much pay them to try and get you, you know, because when no one knows of you, it's hard to start off, you know. So, but yeah, we did it tough for a couple of years there.
Yeah. How many people told you then, man, get a real job?
Not really. I guess we might have had it once or twice, but we never listened. We were just focused on what we were doing. So yeah, parents were pretty supportive of it too. You know, our dad was never like, oh, you're never going to make a living playing guitar. Get out and get a real job. They were never like that. They were like, you know, you're young still. Get out and give it a shot. And you know, we were going to do it anyway, but.
Explain to us a moment where you, like on stage of Wacken, you know, and you reminded of playing a pub in Australia for 50 people.
Yeah, or even there was one gig we did a long time ago. It was just to the security guards. A fight broke out. We were playing this hall in Portland, which is a town down the road from Warrnambool. A fight broke out, and it was like only the security left, and we played to like 5 security. So going from that to playing 80,000 at Wacken, yeah, it's a big difference. But we treat every show the same. Like, you know, it doesn't matter if we're playing in front of 5 people or playing in front of 80,000. You know, you give it your best, you give it your hardest, and it's just, you know, we love it either way. But Wacken is that was probably the best experience so far for us, playing on such a big, or you know, just playing in such a massive audience. It was good.
You recorded in Chicago. Was that a record company decision?
No. We get to choose. You know, we look at producers when it comes around to the album, and you know, whatever producer we decide to work with, it just, you know, wherever they're based, kind of thing. You know, and whatever, you know, fits in within the budget. But Johnny Kay, the producer we worked with on that album, his studio was in Chicago, and he's which is an awesome studio actually. It's a massive building, and it was actually a real historical building in Chicago that was actually owned by Al Capone, the famous gangster. So, but it's been converted all into the, you know, rehearsal rooms and studios, and yeah, and that's where we ended up. And just we lived in the studio and were there for about 3.5 months. Yeah.
Anywhere you go on the planet, you get compared to AC/DC. Does that piss you off sometime because you hear that 10 times a day?
Nah, not at all. It's a common question, obviously, but you know, nah, not at all. It's we wear our influences on our sleeve, and we're proud to, you know, it's what we love playing. But I always look at it, you know, that's the Aussie kind of rock and roll sound. You know, there's a lot of bands. You've heard of Rose Tattoo. You know, they're very similar to that kind of sound as well, and there's, you know, quite a few other bands that are like that. And it's just our kind of Aussie raw rock and roll sound, and that's what we just based ourselves off, and that's what we love to play. And yeah, no, well, it's a compliment being compared to such a big rock band. So
you supported the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
How was that?
Yeah, good. We didn't do a tour with them. It was just the one show we did in Melbourne. That was a while ago now, but that was the ultimate. That's probably, so far, it's been the highlight of bands we've ever supported. You know, no offence to Motorhead and things like that, but just the one show. You know, the Rolling Stones have been around for forever. Yeah. And yeah, that was great. And we got to meet the band after the show, and they're really cool guys. And you know, we had a photo with them and had a beer with them, and then just before they went on stage, and that was really good. Didn't really kind of hit in until the next day, and it was just like the next day after, it was like, oh shit, we just supported the Rolling Stones last night. So to see Mick Jagger at his age, he still works the stage, you know, like a Jack Russell, running back and forth. So if I'm still fit at that age, I'd be happy. And I guess at the time too, that was like 2006. We hadn't even recorded Runnin' Wild, the first album. So for us back then, we hadn't even been out of Australia yet. So that was a big thing for us back then as well, to support those guys.
Well, speaking of the name, the band name, it's always funny when people are guessing where it's from. One is like the 101 Airborne in Second World War.
Yeah, I guess that's what I always, well, that's the way I always look at it. I mean, the brothers already had the name before I came in, but Ryan once told me over a beer saying, I guess you could look at it, compare it to like it's like the 101st airborne division. It's just you're like a band of brothers on the road in the trenches fighting for rock and roll behind enemy lines. So it's kind of, yeah, I guess you could look at it that way.
But it's also the name of a real huge air show in Sussex. Did you know that?
Oh, I've heard of that. Yeah, because if you type in airborne on Google or whatever, it's it always comes up the air show and then just shows of us as well. So yeah, it's funny.
You could play there.
It'd be great. It'd go down well, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Having airborne at the Airborne in Sussex.
Yeah, it wouldn't, you know, you can have explosions. You wouldn't have to have pyro because you could just use the jets to drop bombs around you and stuff like that. It'd be great. G'day, I'm Dave from Airborne, and you're watching MULATSCHAG, the only TV that's really worth watching. Keep rocking. MULATSCHAG!